Hello and welcome back to Making Bedwars. Today we're going to be creating the Unbreakable Islands. Let's get into the video. Alright, so I'm going to explain how this works and then we are going to actually get into using the commands. I'm going to add a skip on the screen here if you want to skip to the next part. Basically what we're going to be doing is we are going to be using /clone masked on each of these islands to get them into the right spot where we have all the stuff set up, and then we're going to have it in a repeating command block that constantly clones it there. And basically that'll allow us to have unbreakable islands, but since we're using /clone masked, we'll actually be able to place blocks on the islands but not destroy the actual island. So that is the general idea. Okay, let's get right into the commands. So first thing we're going to have to do here is we are going to have to get ourselves a little 3x3 square, and the reason why we're doing this is we have to test where everything will actually clone to. So let's make a little bit 3x3 here. So we're gonna get the /clone 45 for 140, and yes, this step seems like it's not. This step is completely crucial. If you do not do this step, it will not end up right. So we're gonna clone it to our position. All right. So where it's cloning to our to this direction. So if we stand here, it's gonna clone to right here. This is really important because it's gonna change where we clone stuff to, because if we try and clone it to this position, the island might clone to right about here and start going off to the side. We want everything to be inside the map, so this is really important. Okay, now that we know where it's gonna clone to, we should get ourselves the island coordinates. So I'm going to time-lapse this while I get the coordinates, and then you can get your coordinates of the top right and the top right-hand corner of each island and the bottom left-hand corner, or top left and bottom right. Alright, so we have officially got the coordinates of all of our islands, which is pretty good. And we can remove you can remove any blocks that you use to get the exact coordinates, if you did use blocks to do that. And now that we have done that, now we have to do some math here. So basically what you're going to do is you are going to find the size of your island. So we're going to subtract 81 by 55 and 155 by 134 to get the X and Z coordinates. You can also get the Y. You don't necessarily have to, but you can if you want. So I'm gonna do that, and you can do that as well. Okay, so now we have got the exact sizes of each of our island, and the reason why this matters is because it will allow us to clone it to the right spot. So if we did not have these coordinates, basically we wouldn't be able to clone it to the right position, because we're gonna have to clone it a certain number of blocks out for it to get into the perfect spot. So now another thing you have to decide is if you want your diamond and emerald island centered on a certain position. If you want your island centered, what you need to do is you need to get your coordinates and move a certain number of blocks in the direction that you are that you want to clone it from the midpoint. So basically, to center it, in theory, we should have to do something like this. So 4, 5, 6, 7, because this would be 8 blocks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now if we clone our diamond island to this exact position, it will be centered on this. So let's actually try that with our diamond island. And if you're playing on Windows 10 or Education Edition, this is really, really easy because you can just press Command and scroll wheel to get yourself, actually it'd be Control scroll wheel, I believe. Yeah, and then you get this thing with plus data. And basically this will allow you to place down the command block with all the data, and since we already wrote down the coordinates in that command block, it'll be really easy. Otherwise, you can just try and use copy and paste, and now we just have to get these last 3 coordinates over there. So, -26, 3, 228. And now we have our diamond island in the map. And of course this isn't unbreakable since we just deactivated the lever, but if we activate that, it'll be unbreakable. So one last thing we need to do for this command I mean, is we have to get over here and we have to put masked. So if we do this and throw on masked at the end, and then flick the lever, now it's constantly cloning. Completely unbreakable. And if we place blocks, we can, but we just can't break any parts of this map, which is really, really good. Exactly what we want. So now that we've done that, all we have to do is repeat this for the other spots where we want the diamond island. So let me do that. So now we officially have all of our diamond islands in the right spot, which is awesome. And now all we have to do is we have to get our player islands and the emerald island. So the emerald island, I'm gonna do basically the same concept, but we're gonna need to do a little bit more blocks since this half of 42, which is the size of the emerald island, is 21 blocks. We're gonna have to do something like 20 blocks out in both directions. So now we have to just get this block position, so -39, 3, 281, and we're gonna basically do the same thing as we did earlier. So let's go over here, and we're also going to reduce the ticks on this to, let's say, 3 ticks each command block, because that will reduce lag significantly if it's not always cloning. And this is bugging out. Okay, well, whatever. Here we go. We have our massive emerald island cloning. Okay, of course there's a little issue here though. So if you have anything that's grass or anything like that that's a little too high, you're gonna have to remove that. So for me, that'd be this. Now, if we turn the command blocks back on, it's not going to kill my computer. Yep, and all the redstone's actually working properly. So now let's fly over there and make sure it's not constantly destroying stuff. And perfect. It's not constantly destroying stuff. So we're gonna kill all the items again, just because there were some items left over. And now we have our emerald island constantly cloning as well. Okay, so another thing you're gonna have to do is force load these command blocks. So for those of you who don't know how to do that in Bedrock Edition, let's turn this off real quick. We're going to do / ticking area add 48 for 168. So that's one corner that we want to do to here. Let's actually do up to here. 38 for 174. We're gonna call these clone islands. And now this will be constantly loaded no matter where we go in the world. So that means now these shouldn't be able to be destroyed if our render distance is set a little bit too low. This is a slight issue here. Yeah, so I mean, if you have to remove some decoration on your islands to make it work properly, that's completely fine. It's always better to have it work than to have it just killing your computer. Highest priority is to have the map work. So now we break stuff. Perfect. And we are actually going to put the ticking delay on this to something because it's starting to lag. Let's put a 10 tick delay. Actually, let's start putting tick delays on all of these 10 tick delay I think is good. That's every half a second it'll reclone. So if we put a 10 tick delay, you'll have to make sure you have bedrock on the inside of your island, which I'm going to put in after this video. Because if you do not have bedrock on the inside of your island, it will actually allow players to get into them, and that is not something that you want at all. So now it should be, yep, significantly less laggy. And by players getting into them, I mean, let's say a player can mine fast enough where they can just get in. Luckily, this island is completely full on the inside, which is a good thing, but I might still have to edit it a little bit after. And with these islands, so let's say I'm in survival, it's not gonna let me in because there's bedrock, no matter how hard I try. And obviously we're going to have to figure out a way to fix anything that's dealing with these blocks being taken, and we will do that in another episode. But next we have the player islands. So we are going to make them clone to a certain position. Once again, I'm just gonna skip through myself finding a position. It's exactly the same thing we're doing with these, except my islands are set up a little weird for these ones. And here we have it. It is our islands all complete. We have our entire Bedwars map set up like this. Now all we have to do is add functionality to it, add the wind system, and then our map should be completely finished. One final thing I want to do though is I want to make this whole area force loaded. It makes it really easy to edit the map if the whole thing's force loaded the whole time. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna do / taking area add 62 3 220, and you're gonna have to have your render distance up for this one because it's gonna be a pretty big area to force load. Okay, -100 30 382, and we're gonna call it playing field. Okay, so if you get this error where it says you can't make it because it's too big, you're just gonna have to split it up into a couple of areas, which is completely fine. It is not a huge issue. So we're just gonna split it halfway. We already have it mostly done, most of the command done, so we're just gonna go over to here, which should be exactly halfway. So -18 30 382, playing field 1, so -100 3 220, playing field 2. Okay, now this entire area is force loaded, which means if we change something over here, it should change the entire map. And it also means that it will be a lot easier to operate with commands and teleporting. We don't have to have these chunks loaded to do any of this stuff. So that is all we have for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next Making Bedwars video. Goodbye!